Tonight on Countdown to Green, we talk short track racing with the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series. Ray Alfalla rips laps at Hickory Speedway, and we listen in to all the thrills and spills from Nashville with iRacing Open Mic. All that and more tonight on Countdown to Green.
'Cause we're invincible.
Fresh off the heels of July 4th, it's only right that we keep the celebrations going. Welcome to Road America. This is Countdown to Green. I'm your host, Camille Salazar-Hadaway. Joining me, as always, is Brandon Cattell and Alan Cabana, our analysts for the show. How are you two doing?
Oh, it's great. Great to have the team back together. Great to go to Road America. Normally, we go before the Cup drivers do. Now we're going after the Cup race, so we know kind of what to expect. I love it.
I'm so excited for some road course racing, Camille. Let's get it going.
Yes, I'm excited as well, and we're gonna get it going. We have all the excitement. Let's check out, though, what happened in Nashville to refresh everyone.
Pace car off and in. Field in the hands of the 88 Chevrolet of Brian LaPrade. As for the first time in eNASCAR history, we say, let's go racing at Nashville. Caution already wrecking behind your race leaders, and the 7. It looks like Malik Ray at the center of it all.
One spinner into pit road. That is Ryan Luza, and Leahy and Alt nearly making contact as they tried to avoid him. No caution, but Ryan Luza losing a lot of time, perhaps some damage for a couple of others in Dylan Alt. Turn 4, Parker Retzlaff is spun here on the front straightaway, and this is going to shake everything up, Evan, as 18th on back is scored a lap down. Parker Retzlaff turned in the 33rd position, and that's going to turn this entire race on its head. Chaos, and Brian LaPrade goes for a spin, gets into his teammate. Caution is out on lap 84, and LaPrade over the radio incensed at what just happened.
Graham, who's your spotter? Definitely need to fire them. Big time.
Everybody, Evan, coming down pit road except for Logan Clampett.
But who is going to win the race off of pit road behind this group? First off is Ray Alfalla in the 51. Alfalla on the outside powers to the race lead. That could be good for the 51 car. Again, one of the drivers who took 2 tires under the yellow has gone through to the race lead. And they can't make it. Caution flag. They're wrecking behind that group that we saw. Kyle Peddle into the outside wall. Ray Alfalla looking for his first win of the season. 2 laps to go at Nashville. Alfalla looking for his first win of 2022 as well. Novak's faster, but he's going to run out of time. And 4-time wants to fight for another title. Ray Alfalla wins at Nashville.
You saw it right there. Ray Alfalla survived all the wreckage that was Nashville. What were your thoughts on the race overall, Brandon?
Well, last time out we saw Ray Alfalla 4-time go back to victory lane at Nashville. But he is not out of the woods yet. Just because he has a win doesn't mean he's eligible for the playoffs just yet. There are still 4 races left and very capable drivers of knocking him out of that top 10 position in points right now. So he's not out of the woods yet, everyone. Still has to win the war, guys.
he still has to win the war. Alan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just seeing yet another race where it's proved to us that Zach Novak is the hottest driver in the series right now. But even more, second place means nothing in this series right now. Think of all the stuff Zach Novak has done over the last few weeks, being the hottest driver, being so great in this Nashville race. Doesn't mean anything. He's not in position for a playoff spot yet because he doesn't have that victory. All this hard work that he's doing almost means nothing at this point if you don't get that checkered flag. It continues to impress me every single week that no matter how hard you try, you have to get that win or you may be out of luck when it comes to playoff time.
All right, both you and Brandon are mentioning playoff. Well, here we go. We are taking our first look for this season at the playoff standings. We have 4 races to go. Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, we have Casey Kerwin and Corey Vincent still without a win. I think you're going to need a win soon to make the playoffs, guys. It's very important. And let's take a look at the point standings here. Again, Corey Vincent, Casey Kerwin, they're in just by a hair right now. But Zach Novak, he's finished second the last 3 races out. This guy is right on the door of getting a win, and he's going to be the next guy. I believe it. He's going to be the next guy to knock his way into the playoffs. Can he stay there? I don't know. There's a lot of racing left to do.
There is a lot of racing left to do, but a team has been making up for that racing, right, Alan?
Oh yeah, the team standings. Look, everybody here in the top 10 is still eligible to win this championship in terms of the team side of it. Stewart Haas Racing still on top. Rise Esports literally rising through the standings as we've seen throughout the season. Great to see them there. JGR sitting there in 7th, a huge jump, especially when you have the winner like Ray Alfalla, really helping the team week to week. But yes, the team championship's still wide open when it comes to this series and this year, 2022.
There's a lot. I feel like the players are really feeling the the drivers are really feeling the pressure as we get closer and closer to playoffs. And in Nashville, we actually got to hear in a little bit on that.
Didn't we run this place earlier this year? I thought we ran this place on the new car. Or did we run the new car here?
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Well, starting in the back.
Oh, man. You're on pole, buddy.
I know.
Are you freaking hyped? Let's go finish this thing, dude. That makes our day a whole lot easier.
The biggest thing we need to do tonight is just not wreck.
So watch for stack ups, because in the 1A Open that I did last night, that initial start was pretty tight. Like, everybody was really tight on each other.
We just need the people up front to race each other like kids.
Man, I'm shaking. I gotta quit shaking, man.
For the first time in eNASCAR history, we say, let's go racing at Nashville. Caution already wrecked behind your race leaders.
You're 4 metal. I just got turned. Like, are you serious? I didn't do anything, you stupid.
I'm literally there, and then he just lifted so early. I wasn't even trying to be there.
They're wrecking.
I missed the wreck.
Holy hell, same.
I missed the wreck.
Ooh, 3, 4. You're 4 top. And I'm dead. Are we okay?
I pinned that mainly on Casey.
I guess you start a race around Vicente and Malik. You're bound to die.
New restart procedures in effect. Briar LaPrade, the control car.
All right, boss. On you. You're in the zone. Now. You're clear all around. Drive away, buddy.
Good jump.
Checking. Good.
Inside's pretty tight on the you got one underneath you.
I'm stuck on the outside. This isn't good.
I think Derek Justice, Nick Shelton perhaps saving a little bit of fuel, Liam Brotherton, so we may try to see a number of drivers catch a caution as one spinner into pit road. That is Ryan Luza.
Man.
Car spinning.
Let's
Keep it low.
go
Low. Keep it high.
Line.
What an idiot.
Alrighty, you're ready here.
Mitchell DeYoung is the net race leader. The 23 is the lead car amongst those who have
trouble
pitted.
Turn 4, and that's going to turn this entire race on its head.
And there it is. All right. What do I do?
There we
Stay
go.
behind,
There we
stay
go.
behind.
There we
All
go.
right.
Okay, that's the break we needed.
Boy, did Busa, Ray, and Liam get lucky.
Because the top 5 drivers were still yet to pit. So Busa, Alfalla, Brotherton, Justice, and Shelton. So it is scheduled pit stops for those top 5.
Let's try and get a good finish here. Be
All
smart.
right, pace cars off. Alrighty, 3, 2, 1, box. Going.
5-lap older tires in front of you. You're faster than all these guys. Go get them.
Yeah, their tires are much newer, man. I hate to tell you, but they are going to get you.
And Bolin is a man on a mission after leading so much of this race. Almost contact with Casey Kerwin. Zelensky's loose in front of him. Briar LaPrade goes for a spin, gets into his teammate. Caution is out on lap 84.
Lock it down.
Hey, Graham, who's your spotter? Definitely need to fire them. Big time.
Briar, if you locked it down, we wouldn't have hit the wall right there. You're too busy keying up to yell at him.
Not the place to be. Okay, Bobby. Hold it.
Is that my fault?
No.
Half off with you. Top stacking. Bobby's wiggling in front here. Easy. Mid.
I mean, blocking low, blocking high, blocking here, blocking there, parking center. Like, come on, just drive your car. Stop worrying about me and just go. Do something. And if you can't go, get the out of the way.
Everybody trying to get around. They're 3. They're almost 4. They are 4 wide on the tri-oval.
And they can't make it. Caution flag. But what this does do is this is going to push us into eNASCAR overtime.
Gosh, man.
No, he won't get me. He won't get me in 2 laps. No way. Not with this pace.
Yeah, now with
Yeah,
now
you
with
look
many
good.
laps as we've run green.
You get a good jump, it should just be you versus Ray.
Yeah, just don't make a move until you do.
Yeah. So. All right, boys. Here we go.
Pace car down. Ray Alfalla looking for his first win of the season. 2 laps to go at Nashville.
Good jump. You're there. Watch the rod from Conti. Open in front. Outside 97, barely knows. He's tucked in with you. Protect your bottom here. Good. Bumper clear. All you got.
Novak's faster, but he's gonna run out of time. And 4-time wants to fight for another title. Ray Alfalla wins at Nashville.
Hell yeah. Good job.
Good job. Hell yeah.
W.
Did it.
Woo! Hell
Congrats,
yeah.
man.
Great try.
God,
man.
that sucks. Great try.
Good race.
I wanted
That
so bad
sucks,
for
man.
you.
3 in a row, man. What the
Not bad for no confidence.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
All right.
Good job.
Good job, guys.
Solid.
Drove perfect.
Awesome. Woo! We're back, baby.
Listen to all those happy drivers. I mean, Zach Novak finished second for the 3rd time in a row. He was still cursing at the end of the race. So
Messy language, right Al?
I love it. Look, I love the realism of iRacing, but that is the most realistic thing I've ever heard when you compare it to Sundays in terms of the confusion, in terms of the frustration, in terms of the emotion. Like you said, Brandon, Zach, so frustrated with finishing second. He had a great finish, and he's still that frustrated. That is the most realistic thing I've ever heard when you compare it to the big show on Sundays. I love that segment.
I feel like Michael Conti probably has the best quote so far for open mic. I feel like we need to get that on a plaque. Just get it out of the way.
I just love the left and right the whole time.
The right. I loved it. But we love NASCAR here. We love eNASCAR. And NASCAR just has so much roots in America. So let's talk about the foundations here as, we go through the series.
Yeah, I mean, we have to think about the grassroots of NASCAR. It starts at your local tracks in the NASCAR route system. Think about going to your local ball field when you learn how to throw a ball with your parents, or going to the high school gym. I mean, that's what the NASCAR route system is like. Look at all the tracks across America that on Friday, Saturday nights, you can go out to as a family and see the future stars of racing nearby at the local track before they become superstars. This is where they are cutting their teeth and learning their skills. At all these tracks across the country, across America, some down in Mexico, Canada as well. And there's so much racing action across the country. Some of it our producers got to. This is at Stafford Springs in Connecticut, where I'm from, a track I'm very familiar with. You can see there Ryan Newman. That's what the best part of racing is. Sometimes racing's best come down back to the roots level and really get, competition with the up-and-comers, with the ground pounders that are there, the veterans at some of these racetracks. We see it on all spectrum. Veterans of these racetracks, up-and-comers who are trying to make a name for themselves. I mean, this is just some great action that you can see Fridays, Saturday nights, again, across the country. I have a special place in my heart for this track. You can see some of the great action here. Stafford Springs, the modifieds, the ground pounders. But yeah, the NASCAR route system, it's such a special place. And not everyone can get to a racetrack, so really, guys, I really think of this iRacing program as part of the NASCAR Roots program, because it's all about getting exposed to racing, right? Getting a chance behind the wheel. And if you can't go on one of these tracks, you can certainly do it with the iRacing program. So I love how it all ties together.
I love it as well, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great family fun experience too. You get to bring your kids to the racetrack. I know I'm planning on bringing my daughter to one of the NASCAR races this year. And you get food, you get drinks, you have a great time. I've been to New Smyrna with a couple iRacers and I've had a great time. No matter what you do, you have to get out there and go experience it for yourself, because it is something that you'll remember for the rest of your life. Camille.
Yeah, definitely. And we actually have a driver that's doing a bit of both, like Alan was saying, racing here in this series, but also in IRL. I'm talking Ray Alfalla, as well as, him just putting all on the line here. But he recently got a chance to put his skills to the test IRL, and we got a chance to catch up with him.
I tried to go out there and not leave anything on the table, without, of course, stuffing it in the fence. I'm Ray Alfalla, 33 years old, out of Cape Coral, Florida, and I'm a 4-time eNASCAR champion. My friend Brian Blackford, who's friends with Landon Huffman, and he lives up there in the area. He just kind of told me, hey man, hit Landon up. He might be able to put you in one of his cars for a test or something, So I contacted Landon, and then he said, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people helped out, just for a test, because it seems like just like a simple thing, but it takes a team. And of course, as you see in the in footage, it's a lot of people involved, whether it's taking video or getting the car ready, putting the decals on and getting it there. So it's a team effort. I've never been in a full-bodied stock car on an oval. Definitely not like a short track. I've only done, before that, the only time I've ever been on an oval was the Richard Petty driving experience around Daytona. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had. Knew how to drive the stick, so I was, I had no problems with that. And yeah, just iRacing, just knowing the track, obviously, from the sim. So I didn't go there not knowing what the track was like. But even so, obviously, Landon took me around in his car before we went out there, just in his street car, and you get to see, in person, all the little details of the track. Shook the car down, got like a base lap time of what the car is capable of, and and then he told me, okay, you ready? And that's when it was like, oh man, I'm really about to strap in here and go. So those are that's obviously nerve-wracking, that moment of getting in there and knowing that you're about to fulfill a lifelong dream, lifelong goal of like going around an oval in a stock car, and just all the rush of emotions of everything that's going on. The biggest unknown was how would it feel to slide the car. I know what it feels like on iRacing, and I'm able to correct when the rear end steps out, but I didn't really know what it would feel like to drive, to go into a corner in a big heavy stock car and hit the gas and and see what happens. So I think the biggest difference is in real life, you feel everything just quicker because it's right there instantly. You're sitting on the car and it shifts, so that's very quick, and it feels very, very natural to save a car and to correct the car. But everything I learned on iRacing transferred as far as going into the corner, the front end pushing a little bit, then it being a little bit loose on exit. Everything that I learned, all the habits that I learned, I was able to just transfer it directly. And he was able to go a couple tenths faster than I was when I got back in the car, which, for me, being a couple tenths off Landon, who has a lot of experience there and has won races there, that was pretty good for me. Obviously, I'm super competitive, but I know that it was my first time in the car, so I wasn't expecting to set the world on fire and go out there and beat his lap time. But I think I came fairly close, and the rest of the team was fairly impressed.
I'd say race pace. I mean, if we were fast forward to even like a race pace with that many laps, it'd be right there. You wouldn't be even far off right now. Truthfully,
I've always thought, the top drivers in sim racing, whether it's on the NASCAR side or the open wheel side or road side, I think the amount of skill and the amount of attention to detail it takes to go fast, several of the drivers in the Coca-Cola series can get into a real car and do well and do respectable. I think other guys before me have already proven it. There's drivers that are racing for a living now that got started in sim racing, whether that be here in the States or in Europe. That's already been proven, so anybody who says it's not possible is just not paying attention. So for me, it was really about the experience and getting to fulfill a lifelong dream of mine, which is going around an oval in a stock car.
And of course, that's Ray Alfalla. I would love to see the Little Rascal memes, though, if they could kind of make Ray Alfalla into Alfalfa. That'd be cool.
Hey, respect that 4-time champ.
I'm putting a lot of respect on his name. No, that was amazing, though. That was an amazing piece.
Yeah. I'm so happy for him. I've known Ray for quite a long time. I'm actually like almost next door neighbors with him, only like 10 minutes away from where he lives. So just to see him go out there and do that and really just get to feel a real race car for the first time like that, it's just really cool experience.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. But we talked about how iRacing gives that experience as well to people at home, and a part of that is the rigs that everyone makes and gets to race on. So it's time to show us your rig. This first one is from Shane House. This is pretty cool. Clean setup, not so clean cables.
I love the colors. Love the colors in the keyboard and the mouse pad there. Good stuff.
We got a next one from Derek.
I really like the Crocs, the invisible Crocs in the right-hand corner there.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I had to cross my eyes to see them. Wow.
No, great seat, great setup. Oh, cool wheel.
This is awesome. Ethan is quadriplegic. This is a quadriplegic setup. This is really showing that iRacing through your rigs that you DIY at home are really truly made for you and anyone can enjoy.
That's awesome. Everyone open to it. That's really cool.
Awesome.
It's a lot like Robert Wickens. He just won a race recently. He has the same type of hand control, so really cool to have that where he can race like that.
Justin, great setup here. 3 for Dale, love that. Love the racing seat wraparound, good stuff there.
Here we go. We got the three screen setup. I feel like this is what everyone's dream is.
Yeah, good stuff. This one is very out there. I don't. That's
it's from space.
Look at this desktop setup right there. The double soundboard.
Loving the green and the purple, Tom. Sean, this is nice. Sean also, that's a DIY wall that I see he made up.
Is that like a door, a driver's door? You can
I love it. I love it. Make sure to send us your rigs. Tweet us at NASCAR and iRacing using the hashtag eNASCAR. We love to see all the rigs that you create at home. But it is getting inchy closer to Road America, and I am really curious about what we could expect. Brandon, take us through the track.
Yeah, let's take a look at the track analysis here, Camille. Road America has 14 turns. It's one of the longest racetracks. It is the longest racetrack that we'll race at all year long. And we actually have a special guest to take us through a lap around the racetrack. Number 18 Joe Gibbs racing driver, Bobby Zielinski here taking us a lap.
What up, y'all? It's Bobby Zielinski, driver of the number 18 Interstate Batteries Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. First, we start off this front stretch, and gives you a little bit of a time to rest when you're in the middle of a race. Then we look at these orange cones for turn 1. Try to brake as close as we can to them, but you're not going to be braking at them, or you're flying off into that gravel. Get to the inside curbs, your inside tires. Use up all the track. A little trip through turn 2. Now in turn 3, from third to second gear. Again, getting your insides on that inside curb. A lot of these corners are like that. You're just getting your inside tires on the inside curbs, because inside curbs are pretty much in all these corners. Now turn 5, this is the most difficult corner for sure, because you're having to heavy brake at 170 miles an hour down a bend, and then go all the way down to first gear. Use all the track you can, and turn in for the apex. Nice and easy. Get up to second gear as you go to turn 6. You get all this understeer as you turn in, so you got to actually underdrive it a little bit to hit the apex. Turn 7, one of 3 kind of quick kink-like corners in third gear for the exit of that. And turn 8, another one of these hairpin-like corners where you're heavy braking. See, it wants to get loose on you going into there if you overdrive it a bit, which I did. Now into the carousel of turn 9 and 10. This is the closest you're going to get to like a normal oval corner, where it's just a long corner, but you're just patient with it, nice and easy, no need to rush it until the exit. Get the best exit you can. Turn 11, kink. Similar to turn 7, where you just kind of point and shoot. Get right to the edge of the track. You can use a little bit of the grass there and get away with it, so usually you'll see a lot of cars driving in the grass tonight there. Brake before the track completely straightens up for Canada Corner. Down to second gear here. First gear is just a bit too short. Use up all the runoff you can. Up to third gear before you go to 13. Nice and close to that apex. Pretty much running over the inside curb. And turn 14. Try to brake as late as you can, but not too late, because that front end will just wash away from you. You get really tight. And most of these corners, these heavy braking zones we went through, like, really easy to just lock up and fly off the track and get suspension damage. So should be an interesting one. It's gonna be a quick race for sure, just 25 laps, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can do some good today, or not, who knows, we'll see.
All right, you heard it there. It could be a quick one, 25 laps. Who is gonna take it? We gotta talk about our picks for the night. Brandon, why don't you kick things off? Because, I feel like you're not quite last, but you're almost there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. Just a little bit. Hey, listen. With that, I'm going to take the guy who just showed us the masterclass around this, the guy who has the most wins on road courses in the series history. Bobby Zielinski is going to get it done tonight. He's going to go back to back on winning road courses.
Okay.
Oh, man. I'm a little worried. I'm going for a swing and a prayer here, but the man with all the momentum, Zach Novak. Come on, Zach. I know you got some road course skills. Keep this streak alive. Get the victory for me, buddy.
I like how both of you are so hopeful when you say your picks, but mine is already on the poll. Steven Wilson is my pick for the night. You guys seem really shocked, and I just seem really happy based on your reactions. But I wish I could hear more from you. We'll keep the shock faces going because it's time to get into the race. We're heading to Road America. Stay tuned as we start the race right now.
here, and the number 23 car could be about to make history. Down the back straight, pacing away for the 70 car.
They say that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. But maybe it begins with one single start. Turn, bump, grind, pit, pass, win,
That's crazy what happens on the last lap here.
and celebration. In NASCAR, that journey starts here. I am the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. I am NASCAR.
This is virtual racing with real life stakes.
My expectation of making this championship for
Alfalla, it's for sure a threat to the competition.
My number one goal is to get back in victory lane.
I'm gonna just go out there and control what I can control.
The road to $300,000 is primed for a family vacation to America's National Park of Speed. Where tonight, from iRacing's virtual Road America, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 11 of the 2022 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Well, as always, have the year spending your Tuesday night with us here streaming live at eNASCAR.com. Alongside Blake McCandless, my name is Evan Pasoko, and Blake, finally we see our first road course test, not only this year, but for this new era of Cup Series racing with the next-gen car.
And it could have come at a more pivotal point in the season, Evan. With this road course introduced, it brings in a lot of names like Mitchell DeYoung, Bobby Zielinski, who haven't had the success I'm sure that they wanted to be able to get a statement win and lock their way into the playoffs. And, by the way, these drivers saw this Cup race happen a couple of days ago. That's something we don't often see in this series. So interesting to see if they learned a thing or two watching Tyler Reddick and the next-gen cars in NASCAR this past weekend.
Yeah, happy to bookend the race weekend. With that being said, we are ready to go racing, so let's go trackside for the most famous words in motorsports.
On behalf of everybody at Road America, drivers, start your engines.
Fired up and ready to go, we take a look at your eNASCAR starting grid, and the most recent road course winner in the series, Graham Bolin on pole alongside Mitchell DeYoung. The second of the Stewart-Haas Ford, Steven Wilson, is on row number 1 there. He's got Graham Bolin and Vicente Salas. The next row back on row number 2. Then you've got Salas, Zielinski, Kerwin, Duvall. There's a lot of mixed representation amongst the teams. Kerwin in the exit entry was fastest in practice earlier today. Dylan Duvall, there is that second Stewart-Haas entry on the inside of row 4. Nick Ottinger in his William Byron Esports Chevrolet rolls off from 8th. And on row 5, you'll find Keegan Leahy's 2311 Toyota and the Jim Beaver Esports 15 of Blake Reynolds.
Well, looking further back in the field, Evan, you see Corey Vincent, Dylan Alt in road number 6. Again, very close times. This is only about a second behind your race leaders. You have Matt Busa from Ode Motorsports in 13th. Garrett Maines for Elliott Sadler Esports will start in the 14th spot. 15 goes to Alan Bose for Space Station Gaming. A good start for him. 16th will be the Williams Esports entry Duracell on the hood of Donovan Strauss's number 20 machine. Michael Conti, Junior Motorsports, will start in 17th. Jimmy Mullis in 18th. And by the way, congratulations, Jimmy Mullis, on your engagement. Cody Bias will start in 19th, and Garrett Lowe for the Wood Brothers. He'll round out your 10th row.
We're halfway home at this point. You'll find Derek Bordeaux, Z-Racer 42, alongside Ryan Luz's X-Set number 4 on row 11. 23rd tonight belongs to Liam Brotherton. It's the Chevrolet duo with the Elliott Sadler driver on the inside and the Team Dillon Esports driver for Hurst on the outside in 24th. Colin Bowden will start 25th tonight, the second of the E-Racer entries, and the Letarte Esports 36 of Brian Bacurio to his outside. Caden Honeycutt will roll from 27th, representing RFK Racing in the Jeter Motorsports Chevrolet of Brian LaPrade to the outside as he rolls from 28th. Zach Novak, Rise Esports, fueled by Sudoku on the inside of row 15 tonight, starting 29th. 30th is Blade Witt.
30th will go to Blade Witt for the Wood Brothers. 31st is Parker Retzlaff. 32nd with Colin Keister for the Charlotte Phoenix. Malik Ray iRacing Motorsports will start 33rd. 34th to Michael Guest for Jim Beaver Esports. The final driver to make a time in qualifying, Evan, was Ray Alfalla in 35th, as well as 4 drivers that did not make a time.
39 cars ready to race in here tonight. We hand things off to the third member of our broadcast team, James Pike. He's on the radio with Stephen Wilson.
I am indeed with the Stewart Haas Esports driver. And Stephen, you've won races this season, but pole here at Road America, track position, a very big factor. Does the starting spot change the way you approach this race, change your strategy for that at all?
It might, I came into this not really thinking I had pole contention, but at least maybe top 5, but I guess now that we have this, I've been practicing a lot of qualifying all day, so hopefully the race pace is good enough to hang on.
Got the win earlier this season in Atlanta, looking for win number 2 on the 2022 campaign.
Thanks, James. James going to be on pit road, keeping us updated as well with a lot of the strategy over the course of tonight's race. And, of course, I talk about Stephen Wilson Blake. He averaged a P4 across the 3 road course races last year. Didn't finish any worse than 5th. His name is right there with the likes of DeYoung, DeBolin, and Zelensky. Can the 10 pull it off?
Well, it's awfully impressive that he's up here, and it seems like this car has really suited Stephen Wilson's driving style. It's one thing to qualify fast in 1 lap and be just 8 1/1000ths better. It's a totally different thing to do that for 25 laps.
And we're happy that you're with us on this Tuesday evening for round number 11 in 2022. Pace car off it in. Stephen Wilson in control as we say, let's go road course racing at Road America. High-speed run down to turn number 1 for the first lap of this 4-mile, 14-turn circuit. Wilson clear for the race lead. Battle's going to be for second. Right-hand kink, turn number 2. Hard braking zone. Right-hander in 3. Here comes Bolin. Contact with Mitchell DeYoung.
And that's going to force him off the road. 3 wide already as they start to work towards turn 5. This is slowing them down. But how are you going to enter here? You have Kerwin on the outside. He'll give way to DeYoung and Salas. But a crazy start here as they go for 4th. And Salas, not so great on the brakes here. He's going to overrun the corner just a little bit.
Going to be one of your best passing opportunities all night right there down the Moraine sweep and into turn 5. Lots of drivers going over on the curbs. You can look at all the action mid-pack as well as they try to funnel up the hill in 6. And there's a lot of beating and banging going on right here. Oh, and a spinner trouble. It's Dylan Duval. He gets hooked. He's in traffic in turn 7. Another car is going to go off the racetrack as well. Now more drivers wrecking and now a huge wreck. Dylan Holt is in the fence. The 75 cars collected too, and it is a sloppy opening lap for the midfield, and it is not done yet as they head for the carousel.
Oh, and they keep on going. Duval just got spun again. You see another one out here in the carousel. Ray Alfalla has spun. So a chaotic opening lap that we're not too accustomed to seeing here, Evan. Typically these road courses, they could start these races pretty clean, but that was in the middle section of the field when they're bunched up. No cautions flags being flown. So this is really going to hurt those drivers quite obviously. But what an impact this will have on the rest of this race.
Yeah, it took a lot of drivers who started top 10, top 15 out of this one early, and goes without saying, of course, you'll know this if you're a longtime viewer here for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, but you will not see full course cautions over the course of today's race, unlike all of the oval circuits on the calendar. Lap 1 of 25, Blake, is in the books. Walk us through this one with a look at our Race News race analysis.
Well, it's going to be pretty straightforward, Evan. As we mentioned, there's going to be no full course cautions thrown in this race, so it's pretty much 25 laps straight to the end. It'll roughly be about a little over an hour. I think an hour and 5 minutes or so is some of the times that these drivers were targeting. You see that fuel window right there, 17 to 19 laps. You'd imagine they'd about split that in half to get fresh runs on both sets of those Goodyear Eagles that they'll be driving on. Tire set's not going to be too much of a factor unless maybe you just spun. You may want to use a little bit of it. Pit road speed down to 45, and that pit road exit, Evan, particularly if you're the leader. You saw Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick nearly made contact in the Cup Series race, so if DeYoung can manage to run down Wilson and they pit at the same lap, we'll have to see how pit road exit treats these drivers.
Yeah, that's going to be something big as we get to the middle portion of this race. Again, this was not going to be a long one, but if a sprint here at Road America may be part of the reason why everybody's so aggressive early. You can see the NASCAR Technical Institute 36, Brian Vacurio for Letarte Esports, trying to shake off a challenge from the 7 of Malik Gray. He looks up the road to Zach Novak in the 5, who, as Alan had mentioned during Countdown to Green, has been one of the hottest drivers as of late, but of course, Zach looking to just try to squeak out of here with a decent haul of points in the midfield and up 5 spots from the get-go. Back towards the front of the field, you saw Mitchell DeYoung first. There he is way on the horizon, though. That's Steven Wilson. You barely see him in the shots there. Your race leader rocking it out to a 3.2 second advantage over to all of this that we're watching behind him. DeYoung still second, Zelensky third, Kerwin fourth, Bolin down in 5th. Of course, I reference Bolin, in fact, on the grid. He's the most recent defending race winner from Watkins Glen last season. He is in the mix here as we jump back to that battle with the 46 machine. Jimmy Mullis can't find a break, and he's the instigator this time on the inside of Keegan Leahy and through in turn 14.
Well, Jimmy Mullis was somebody that last year was so strong here at Road America, and anytime we come to these road courses, he is someone that you have to bring into factor that he's going to be in play. So I'm honestly quite surprised he just cracked his way into the top 10. This is kind of a little bit further back than I would have expected out of Mullis, but he's been on the charge, up 8 spots already in our opening 2 laps, so he's done a great job picking his way off. You could see Michael Conti there. I think Keegan Leahy, yeah, you see the damage right there, Evan. I think that damage definitely slowing him down. Perhaps a little bit of engine damage going to hurt the RPMs on another very strong road course driver.
It's been tough for Keegan. Remember, girded up in this race in 9th position. He has slid down to 13th, maybe a little bit more. Of course, you also saw a nice move there for the pass, courtesy of Garrett Main. So they're going to continue battling, but let's look back at everything that happened on the opening lap of this race, because several big names were taken out. It starts right there. Dylan Duval's 41. That's the left-hander coming out of what is turn number 6. Right there, gets hooked. He spins out once, but then he's in the middle of the racetrack, so Maines gets a piece of it, Alt gets a piece of it, and then when Maines rejoins the racetrack, Alt is going to get pinched over. The 75 machine's there. He gets taken out. Those are 2 cars into the fence. Again, no full course cautions. And then what you referenced, Blake, when they go back to the carousel, then the 41's going to get turned a second time.
Yeah, he was looking to get by. It looks like the 6 of Parker Retzlaff. He goes for another spill. Ray Alfalla missing that. Got his left rear tire off the course, and unfortunately, he took his spin as well, starting in the back. Obviously not what he had in mind when he showed up today. But you could see the damage that Keegan Leahy got through that contact as well. Just unfortunate here. It's usually the first lap. It does happen. But the nice thing is, Evan, if you're really talented, and we have so much talent out here, Mitchell DeYoung, Zelensky, Kerwin, Steven Wilson, and what have you, you can carry a lot of pace. And if you are going to have an issue, it's better to have it on lap 1 than on lap 20.
It's going to be tough for guys like Alfalla. Of course, our Countdown to Green crew correctly referenced it was a big win for Alfalla last time out, Blake, but his win only counts towards playoff eligibility if you're in the top 20 in the points. Alfalla entering tonight 15th, but currently running 37th on track. I mean, that can apply to any of our race winners. Garrett Lowe's 13th in the points. Certainly he and Alfalla 13 and 15, the most at risk. You're seeing the pressure from Casey Kerwin here. Kerwin was second fastest, I should correct, in the practice session earlier. The fastest was Graham Bolin, the most recent road course winner. But Kerwin's been up there all night, and he's been putting the heat on the interstate batteries. Number 18, Bobby Zelensky, in this fight right now for third.
Well, I was thinking, Evan, before this race, what are going to be some of the drivers as we move forward that can kind of challenge the same one or two road course ringers that have really dominated in the series? Guys like Mitchell DeYoung, guys like Bobby Zielinski. And I've always had my eye on Casey Kerwin, especially with this next-gen car. Casey, very active on the road side of the service as well. Could probably be a world championship license-holding driver in there as well. He runs a lot of the IMSA series, which, of course, translates very well to this next-gen car. So no shocker to see that with this new car, Kerwin's been able to move his way further up in the field, and I think wouldn't have been a bad pick to win tonight. He's about 4.5 seconds back, but has been matching that pace with Steven Wilson. So no shocker to see Casey Kerwin up here running in the top 5.
When you talk about the next-gen car, and I referenced it off at the top, right? Our first road race of the year, but the biggest thing is the first road race with these cars. And not to call you out, Blake, but you did mention earlier that you were trying to do some laps here at Road America, and I think the quote was, "I can't make a lap." And you're a pretty decent driver, for those who are not familiar. Of course, just nearly qualified into this series this year. So what is it? Is it Road America? Is it the next-gen car? Or is it a combination of the two that's going to be the biggest challenge for these guys today?
Well, yes, thank you very much for sharing that. I was trying to make some laps. It was a lot more difficult. I joined this broadcast last year for Road America, and it was a little bit easier. This next-gen car, as much as the brakes are so good, it almost can trick you in a way, as Keegan Leahy has stopped and run off the course. That is in turn 12 in Canada Corner. So the Canadian just ran off in Canada Corner, Evan. What the heck?
Listen, we're going to have to talk to the citizenship office about that one. That is some unfortunate dramatic irony for poor Keegan Leahy there. And Canada Corner is going to be one of the most exciting corners on track, but Keegan's got some really severe left front damage, so he's going to be forced down to pit road. Hopefully Dylan Duval can carry the flag.
Hopefully so, as a fellow Canadian yourself. Yeah, you have a little bit of right to talk about that. But it looks like with Bobby Zielinski here still trying to fend off a challenge here from Casey Kerwin, we will look on board of Corey Vincent with our Coca-Cola on board.
It's about a full lap around the virtual Road America circuit for Corey Vincent, the Coca-Cola onboard camera with his team Dillon Esports Chevrolet, checking back in towards the front. Zielinski hanging on to third as he continues to try to chase down DeYoung. Wilson comfortably in control. Not a ton of movement, James, happening right now inside of the top 5.
Well, they fight the top 5. I'm here with Stewart Haas Esports, Dylan Duval. And Dylan, what did you feel from behind the wheel in that opening lap incident?
I felt like we just completely got ran off the racetrack and destroyed by someone who does the same thing every week. Definitely a frustrating night for our Simpson Ford Mustang. I think we had a car that could have run up around the top 5 and actually put it all together in queue and thought we were going to have a great race, and then Vicente decided that wasn't going to happen. So it's about sums that up.
disgruntled Dylan Duvall out of this race much earlier than he would like, Evan.
It's a tough break. He is 39th. It is going to finish at the tail end of the field in this race. Not at all what he wanted for him and the team. And again, there's a lot of drivers with damage just trying to make up for it. But you go back to the midfield here, the battle for 21st on the back, just as aggressive as ever. Hurst is a little bit ahead of what I would consider the real fight here. You got Mercurio and Clampett, the back two in this group. They're fighting well as they race again down the high-speed back half of the racetrack. There's the aforementioned Canada corner, turn 12, and we re-look in at those countdown to green picks. Camille picking Steven Wilson, looking pretty smart. Allen's pick Zach Novak right here in 22nd position, and of course Brandon's pick Bobby Zelensky, Blake up in third at the moment. So Allen's going to need to root that patriotic 5-car on a little bit more if he wants to stay close in those points.
He is, and I just got to say, I am so impressed this year with Camille. I mean, every time she makes a pick, she's brand new to watching this series, has really taken to it pretty well, and I'm even surprised. I mean, Brandon Cattell, he knows a lot of these drivers. He's a former driver himself in this series, and here he is every single week, it seems, just getting his tail handed to him by Camille in these picks. She's done a tremendous job all year, and what did you know? I laughed as soon as I saw Steven Wilson flash up on the board because he had won the pole just before we were waiting to go into the booth.
Yeah, nice timing, right? And poor Brandon picks the guy in third, and still right now would be set to lose points in those picks. You see the dive there from the 36 machine. We've seen a couple of those moves so far this afternoon. Going to go the long way around is Brian Mercurio, but not clear. Logan Clampett, bit of a different look. Some patriotic colors, of course, coming off of the 4th of July weekend on his Logitech G Chevrolet for William Byron Esports. And Clampett will win out for the moment in that battle, which right now is for 23rd on back. But I'll tell you what, up front, if you play the Jaws music, Casey Kerwin, they're off it in the grass. Look out, and what a save! Kerwin went off the rumble strip. I believe that was down in turn number 11, I think, the kink, I should say. And I'll tell you what, that was about 140 miles an hour, Blake, and I don't know how that exit car is still in one piece.
Well, somebody clip that for me. I'll go watch it on his stream later. Book it lap 7. 2 tires off, and with these next-gen cars, that diffuser, everybody knows how difficult these cars are once they run off, once they're in the grass. It's much more difficult than the Gen 6 car, but my goodness, did he do a great part in what's probably the most difficult corner to save it if you run off. A great save there by Casey Kerwin, who has been working on Zelensky for a number of laps, just can't seem to get the clean air necessary to try and make him move by.
And thought he was finally going to get there. Now he needs to make up for all that time lost. So we talked about the issues with Keegan Leahy. James Pike has caught up with the driver of the 45 machine.
I do have the driver from 2311, Keegan Leahy. And Keegan, how difficult is it to manage these next-gen cars in the braking zones, especially in a place here like Road America where you've got so many heavy braking zones in the tight corners?
Honestly, it's not too bad. I was fighting my engine, actually, so I got a bit of damage from that lap 1 incident. I was overheating. I was trying to downshift as late as possible and keep as little RPM in it as I could, and just not something I practiced, and I didn't anticipate it was going to lock my fronts up because we rely so much on engine braking with these cars. But honestly, I think I was about to blow up anyway. I couldn't get the water temp down, so my race was over on lap 1. Nothing to do with that.
An early exit for Keegan Leahy, and it goes to show, guys, that even defending champions are learning new things about this next-gen car with every race.
A constant learning process for sure, and as Blake pointed out, in Canada corner, no less. He's the second of a couple of teammate duos, Blake, that are on the very opposite ends of the spectrum, because he's got his teammate Mitchell DeYoung in second. He is out of this race in 38th. Of course, we talked about Dylan Duvall out of this race in 39th. His teammate leading this race. So hot and cold so far for both 2311 Racing and Stewart Haas Esports.
Certainly so. Definitely having to reconcile, I guess. You want to at least do something for your team to try to give them enough points to hopefully not be in the bottom 20 or bottom 15 or so in terms of the team standings. But Zelensky here Casey Kerwin, Mitchell DeYoung, they all have one thing in common. They have been faster these last couple of laps than your race leader. Another good battle back here on the racetrack. You see Femi Olot, who has that win at Daytona. He's been able to sit on that all year long. Running back here in the 29th position, Colin Bowden and Blade Witt. Still a good battle going on here, even if it's back here for 30th. You can see the 69 Blue Emu machine of Colin Bowden, and an early pit for Nick Ottinger. My goodness, we'll have to get James Pike on this in a moment, because this is a pretty interesting call here from the 25.
Not going to be the only one. Just as you mentioned it, Femi Olat bows out from that three-way battle for 29th. He is also down pit road, but I mean, just barely past the 1/3 point in this race. And now a spinner off of 14, an issue for the 12 of Derek Justice. So he may be forced down pit road regardless of if he wanted to. He's going to stay out, so he'll continue to drive with the damage on that car, but not the lone wolf per se on pit road. There's been a couple of drivers in. Femi Olat, one of them, along with Nick Ottinger, James.
A small update on Nick Ottinger and the William Byron Esports machine. This is actually a strategy call from them. They believe it's going to be faster to undercut and make the pit stop early, so they've come in and knocked it out, and they're hoping that they might be able to gain a second or two on the rest of the field by stopping now.
And we'll see if more drivers opt to come in. Obviously, Blake, that fuel window is wide open. Only one stop needed to get a little bit more fuel in these things to get tonight's scheduled distance of 25 laps. But he pitted so early, and you referenced this as a possibility as well earlier. No tires for Nick Ottinger, but he came down to the pit lane. It's solely for fuel.
Well, we haven't seen a significant amount of fall-off yet in these tires. Some of these drivers that are up here at the front are relatively close to the times they set in qualifying, or at least they are improving on their lap times. Each lap, actually, Cohen that last time ran his fastest lap on lap number 8. So if tires aren't going to be a major concern, that's exactly what you want to do, is to basically start, and as soon as you can make it to the end on fuel, come down pit road. If you're in bad track position, now that's the other thing. I don't expect that we'll see a lot of our top 5 come into pit. They'll get back in traffic if they're going to play that strategy. So Wilson, a lot of your top 5 here, I imagine that they're going to play the opposite end. They may come in just before or as far as they can go in that fuel window with maybe 7 or 8 laps to go. So it'll be interesting to see. Strategy is going to be all over the place here. We'll have some splitting it in half and going the full fuel run. So interesting to see how it shakes out as we see 2 more. The 17 of Caden Honeycutt and the 33 of Taylor Hurst also on pit lane.
It brings the number to about 6 or 7 drivers who have come to the pit lane. Again, 3 of those 7 unscheduled service. The most recent 4 that we have seen down on pit road for scheduled stops. And there's a jump back on board with, I believe, Logan DeClampett as he goes off with the right-hander. Turn number 3. Let's ride with him with our Logitech G onboard camera. Clampett, your biggest mover, plus 17 on the night. So far, though, it has been all Steven Wilson, looking to become the 3rd different driver to get multiple wins this season, but he's got a long way to go. You're watching the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series at Road America.
us here in the number 23 car could be about to make history. Down the back straight, pacing away for the 70 car.
Check up. Watch him, man. I'm blocking the track. There's a reputation on the track, being built this very minute.
He's made his own history.
One that embraces the crazy,
Oh my goodness.
the fast, and the unpredictable.
Everyone's gonna win it at the line.
That looks into the eye of the competition and screams, bring it. Loud enough so the whole world will see it coming. I am the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I am NASCAR.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR, and by ACES, the official PC and monitor of eNASCAR, and by Logitech. Through design, engineering, and a love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedals of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
But back live from iRacing's virtual Road America, Stephen Wilson continuing to lead. You're looking at the battle for 11th position right now. Donovan Strauss and Garrett Lowe fighting. They're going through the right-hand turn number 3 at the moment. Again, still waiting, Blake, on a majority of the field to come down pit road. We've seen a couple more drivers come in since we stepped aside. Blade Witt's in this time. Luz has been in. Malik Ray as well, but still waiting on the heavy hitters.
Well, and again, I think that we're going to be waiting for quite some time. I don't see the justification if there's not a whole lot of tire fall off. If you're Wilson to Young, if you come down pit road, all you're going to do is put yourself back in traffic. Where we've seen with this car a little bit, it can be a little bit difficult once you get in traffic to try and make some moves around cars. So I would not be shocked if Wilson to Young, Zielinski, if they all manage to stay on the racetrack and kind of go on the far end of this strategy. However, these last several laps, Mitchell to Young faster than Steven Wilson. That gap that was once about 3.5 to 4 seconds when lap 1 was complete, it's down to 2.7 seconds. So DeYoung has done an incredible job of trying to eat into that lead of Steven Wilson. This is how much that 3 wide hurt them at the beginning, and DeYoung gonna have to work ever so slowly to try and inch his way closer and closer to Steven Wilson lap by lap.
And if you want to include those two that we just saw, Bolin and Kerwin into the mix as well, your top 5 cars separated by less than 5 seconds. Want to bring back in tonight's Grand Marshal, the general manager and track president here at Road America. And first off, Mike Kircher, I want to thank you for joining us and congratulate you and your entire team on another really successful NASCAR weekend. Crowds look great for the 4th of July weekend. And it's eNASCAR's turn, though, to go racing here at Road America. As a track president, just curious what your thoughts are on seeing your facility replicated in a virtual form like this for fans and even real-life sim pros to compete on.
Well, it's an honor. I mean, Road America's been in existence for over 65 years, and it's because of the people. It's folks have embraced what we do here, our culture, the facility. The track's remained unchanged, and I think bringing the world of esports to Road America has really allowed and afforded many the opportunity to drive the historic track. The configuration, like I mentioned, hasn't changed since we've been here, and there's a lot of elevation change. It's a driver's track. You have some really high-speed stuff and some technical stuff, and a little bit of everything, and that's what makes it unique and unlike anything else out there.
I'm certainly going to put on a show as the battle for the race win still well up in the air tonight. We'll let you get back to enjoying the action, Mike. Appreciate your time and appreciate your enthusiasm for the sport of NASCAR and eNASCAR. Of course, closing in next time through now, halfway home, in fact, from Road America. Looking at some of the drivers in the middle of it all. Brian LaPrade, 18th position, trying to get up to Clampett at Ovac and back towards the front. Here is this group of 5, all heavy hitters in the championship. And if you want to stay up to date with all the latest news and updates from the world of eNASCAR as we get closer to crowning a 2022 champ, then sign up today by scanning the QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. iRacing, the official simulation partner of NASCAR. James?
Lots of updates from the top 6 drivers. I can tell you that your first 4 have been quiet on the radio. Steven Wilson, Mitchell DeYoung, Bobby Zalenski, Graham Bolin, all focused on executing these runs. Vicente Salas' crew, on the other hand, has been pretty active. The William Esports folks hoping for battles ahead of them so that it might draw the front 5 together and that they might be able to get some spots. Meanwhile, Casey Kerwin for XSET has been the most vocal on the radio. He said he can't do anything in dirty air, flat spotted a tire earlier in the run, and the right front tire is falling off of his race car so far as where it goes. However, he is going to try and run this until the end of the fuel run, dry up that fuel tank. So lots of action, even though not too many words amongst the top 5, top 6 drivers.
Certainly so. You jump back on the board there, off it into the corner, chasing down the 15 machine in front of him. Is the challenger Garrett Maines. Maines has made a handful of moves over the course of tonight's race. The driver for Elliott Sadler Esports going to come down to the heavy braking zone, left-hander, turn number 5. You're going to see these drivers get it all the way almost entirely to the right-hand side of those rumble strips, actually better their arc into the corner. And then again, Blake, we get a look at the best of you in sim racing on board with Garrett Maines in the bottom right.
Golly, you could see right there from Garrett Maines just how free-feeling this wheel is with that racket pinion steering and how much into each corner. You could see relatively stable here on the straightaway, but as soon as you start to brake, having to put a lot of wheel into it, but you could see the counter steer off the corner that despite the fact that these cars are well known for being able to attack these road courses so much better, the brakes on these cars and how much they perform in corners like these, that just is an extra challenge for these drivers. They have a lot more speed, but they're on the edge a lot more than you had in these older Gen 6 cars that we were accustomed to racing for so long. So it's not easy. I think you could see on board there, I think he's using the paddle shifters right there as well. You could see the hands working as he goes into Canada corner. A lot of wheel input there, and he ain't moving those hands, so not going with the sequential. He's going with the paddles on the back of that wheel.
Hey, that's been the big story on the real-world side of things all year, right? Moving from the H pattern to the sequential, but here on the sim, you can do whatever you want. We always talk at a race like this. Guys like Bobby Zalenski will use an open, kind of an open-wheel formula-style rim. Garrett Maines opting to stick with the NASCAR stock car wheel, but going for the paddles. These drivers will do whatever they can to make themselves more comfortable in the car. And hopefully that makes their life a little bit easier and adds some speed to the end of the day. He has been on the back, I'll say you, that General Tire 50 to Blake Reynolds for quite some time. Poor Reynolds just cannot get away from him. A little bit further back, you see this 6 car of Parker Retzlaff is being chased down by that man there, the Moon Motorsports 75 of Matt Busa. Of course, the team headed by Kyle Long. He's trying to make up some action in the middle of the road, and up front, knocking on the door for second was Zalenski, as we have more pit service. That's Liam Brotherton down pit road. You're still waiting on about your top, I'd say 24 cars have still yet to come down pit road. 24 the number that we are still waiting on.
I think we'll be waiting just a little bit longer within the next 3 or 4 laps, but of course that's quite a decent amount of time when you're talking about just over 2-minute lap times that these drivers are running. But the reason we're showing you Bobby Zalenski right here, your top 5, you can see a line of them right there. DeYoung, Zalenski, a little slide off of the corner, about where Casey Kerwin ran off just a little bit earlier. Graham Bolin, Casey Kerwin, they are all starting to inch ever so closer to Steven Wilson. Gap now down to 2.5 seconds. And this may shape up, Evan. We've had some great battles in Watkins Glen last year. Such a memorable race between Bolin and DeYoung for the win there. If these 4 can continue their pace, we might be set for just an absolute brawl here to the end. We can have a 4 or 5 car battle for the win. Wouldn't that be memorable?
Hoping that it continues all the way to the end as we close in on 10 laps to go. We'll step aside one final time. When we come back, we're racing for the checkered flag from Road America. Steven Wilson continues to lead.
age, your name, your trophies. None of that matters this season. Just what beats under your hood. I am NASCAR.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR, and by Asus, the official PC and monitor of eNASCAR, and by Logitech. Through design, engineering, and a love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedals of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Still watching the battle for second on back as they all try to chase down Steven Wilson. As we welcome you back live to Road America and coverage of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Round 11. Myself, Evan Pasoko, alongside Blake McCandless and James Pike on pit road with you this evening. And more drivers in. Strauss down, Mercurio down. I believe that means 19 cars have pitted, and 20 still to come. As you can see, this battle for second, still some of the best stuff on track, Blake. We're still waiting, though, again, on these cars up front to come down pit road. There's going to be 8 laps to go the next time by. They cannot make it to the end on fuel. It is going to be a fuel-specific stop, as you see the Bernard machine down on pit road as well. But, I mean, this is great, right? I love watching the battle for second, third, fourth, and fifth, but the problem is they're not really making up that ground on Steven Wilson anymore, as they more so are now fighting against each other, and I wonder how problematic that's going to be long term. Wilson's still 2.2 out in front of this.
Well, what's great about this battle, Evan, is as long as they're in striking distance, they have the opportunity to try and make up some ground. That's why this green flag pit stop, when these drivers finally elect to come in, which will likely be in the next 2 to 3 laps, that is going to be where the race is decided. Who can have the better in-lap, who can push the envelope so much on pit road entry, but not speed, is going to be very, very helpful. That's why I love that everybody's right on top of each other. Any mistake is going to be huge. If you overshoot your box, if you back up, if you give up some time on pit road entry, this is going to be the money stop for all 5 of these drivers who could afford to make up some time on Steven Wilson. You can see that time by not coming in. Feel like it's going to be the next lap or two that we see all of these drivers, for the most part, come down pit road.
And we all know they're heavy hitters. Of course, we talked about Graham Bolin, the race winner from late last season at Watkins Glen. That got him into the postseason courtesy of the race win. That's him in the 48 machine. He is looking to get 2 straight road course wins in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. You got Bobby Zelensky, Blake, who everybody regards as the king of the road courses, but he hasn't won a road course race in this series since October 2020. Shut out of him last year when Mitchell DeYoung won 2 and Bolin won the other. And I think it's also worth noting, as Garrett Lowe's down pit road and Brian LaPrade somewhere there with him, that all 3 road course races last season were won by the pole sitter. Wilson trying to do the same. Of course, you don't see him now because he's ahead of the battle for third on back.
I love seeing the intense focus from these drivers. We don't often see him turning that direction, turning right. You can see Zelensky, man, he's even got the Coca-Cola logo right on the steering wheel propped up. Well, now it's out of view as he turns left, but I love seeing how laser-focused these drivers are. They don't blink. That's one issue I know I have when I drive. They just are so zoned in every little bit of time they're trying to scrape out of these cars to chase down Steven Wilson.
And it looks like DeYoung's been able to buffer a little bit. Remember, DeYoung had been under fire for so long. He is pulled about a second now ahead of Zelensky. Granted, he is still 2 seconds behind this man here. Steven Wilson leading. It's DeYoung second, and then the trio of Zelensky, Bolin, and Kerwin third, fourth, and fifth on the racetrack. This time by, going to be 7 laps to go at Road America. Wilson gets through the Bill Mitchell bend in turn 13, the right-hander for turn 14, and heads to the Road America straight, and the race leader to pit road with James Pike.
Steven Wilson bringing his Ford Mustang down to pit road. Still pretty quiet on the radio. His spotter was feeding him intervals to the drivers behind him. He said as the run progressed, his left front was not happy, as he put it. He's going to put one can of fuel in his car to try and get into the end. That's largely the same strategy that we're seeing with DeYoung, Zielinski, Bolin. All of them wanted to pit as late as possible. And Casey Kerwin thought about potentially gaming this for track position, but he's down pit road as well. So pretty solid and locked in pit strategy for the top 5. Everybody coming in as late as they can to shorten that run to the end of this race.
And make the top 5 the top 11. I mean, everybody, Blake, coming in this lap. Steven Wilson executes, and he is going to win the race off of pit road. DeYoung still second. Looks like no changes, although maybe Casey Kerwin passing up Bolin on the exit. Kerwin going to jump to 4th. That knocks Bolin down to P5.
And that's the major change. Casey Kerwin up 1 spot, but look at the gap for Mitchell DeYoung. It was 2.5 seconds when they entered, and you could see right there on the scoring pylon, it was about 1.2, 1.3 seconds. So DeYoung starting to get where maybe he can just inch into that, I guess we're on a road course, right? So we could say slipstream of Steven Wilson to try and chase him down. So give the plus to Mitchell DeYoung on that cycle of green flag pit stops.
And now he knows his mission, and he can see the target up the road. He has closed on the race leader. He has also extended his lead over the battle for 3rd on back, which seemingly is showing no signs of slowing down. So the defending race winner at Road America, Mitchell DeYoung, looking for more. And look at all 3 of those cars hanging it out right there. That was the right-hander turn 7. They go down the hill to hurry downs. The left-hander turn 8. And then they head into the back half of the racetrack, started here with the carousel, turns 9 and 10. And I think at 3.3 seconds back, unless there's mistakes from the top 2 or we get a really good battle between DeYoung and Wilson, these 3 may be fighting amongst themselves for the end of this race. Of course, for more information, if you're liking what you're seeing and want to get in on it to start your sim racing career today, log on to iRacing.com for more information, up to 40% off new memberships at iRacing.com. Again, for new iRacing members only. And again, this is a great battle, but again, 3rd on back, they all lost. It was a net loss for all 3 of these drivers to the race leader.
Well, not only that, if you love what you're seeing right here, and who knows, maybe if you want to be like Ray Alfalla someday and hop into a limited late model, there's not too many people that could do that straight out of having no experience. iRacing is the place to make that happen. You look at the right-hand side of your screen, that is the current point standings. If Steven Wilson were to hang on, of course, he would add to his wins total this season. But, you know, one thing, Evan, that we had in a lot of the interviews from last weekend is hoping that there are winners who already have or visited victory lane to get another win, to not take up another playoff spot. So I'm sure there's plenty of drivers that are very happy to see Steven Wilson up front. They do not want Mitchell DeYoung to get up front.
And one driver who I'm sure is happy about that is Casey Kerwin, right? You saw Kerwin with a points differential alongside his number 95 machine on those live points, because right now there's only 2 points-paying positions into the postseason. He would love, I think, for Steven Wilson to win this race, certainly more so than Mitchell DeYoung, because if Mitchell DeYoung gets it, it just sends him 1 more ring down the ladder. You also did notice Wilson was currently shown at the top of those playoff standings. He would join Michael Conti and Nick Ottinger with race wins, but he would be at the top of the playoff grid because he is higher in the normal standings. So that is, of course, wins than points towards the championship. You can see the number 5 machine. Let's check out what happened with Zach Novak. Down the hill, looks like into 5, and you can see just locked it up. I mean, just missed the corner and took a little bit of a trip through the sand. The 5 car lost, 2 or 3 cars that got through him, and is still under fire in the exact same spot.
Well, and I think it's largely a product of, you remember back to the Cup Series race a couple of days ago, that the cars can get really upset. In some corners they would use the curbing, and in some corners they wouldn't. And one of those corners where they were not going to run on it was into Turn 5. We've seen most of the drivers here tonight pretty comfortable with being able to arc into that corner and go way out there. But no doubt about it, Novak got on those curbs, and once you overshoot the corner, hard to get these things stopped. So Zach Novak right there kind of proving, I think, a little bit of crossover from what we saw from real life, that occasionally out of some corners you want to use the curbing, and it's even translating in here that sometimes you don't.
Looked like on that run down the straightaway, everybody was trying to take a different line into the corner. Bolin was way on the outside, Kerwin in the middle, Zelensky posted up on the inside, didn't go for it. Now in the run down to turn number 3, again looking is Casey Kerwin, but unable to advance his position. It's also worth noting, of course, you take a look at the intervals on the left-hand side of your screen. Mitchell DeYoung still 1.4 seconds off. The difference between he and Steven Wilson's lap time last lap was less than 1/100 of a second. So right now, not making up time, and I think running out of time in the battle for third. Casey Kerwin testing his patience and gives a bit of a shot there to Bobby Zelensky. The 95 car wants to go, and he wants to go now.
Well, he's been sitting behind Bobby for most of the 20 laps that we've had, and I think if Kerwin could get some of that clean air right in front of Zelensky doing an amazing job running a great defensive line that's allowing Kerwin to get a run, but Zelensky knows he's run so many laps around this track and has probably as much or more road course experience than any driver right here, doing a great job driving defensively. As we'll follow that battle on the top part of your screen, and right below him you see Liam Brotherton having a solid run right now in 17th.
Yeah, Brotherton is the chaser trying to get up to Logan Clampett, who occupies the badge at number 16 at all of this. Brotherton, I'd say he's about a second off. Then you got Ryan Luza there as well, who we haven't talked a ton about. But listen, all these drivers in the green. Clampett, your biggest mover still. He is now up 20 from where he started. Of course, we talked about it on the grid. He did not take a time in qualifying, but Brotherton +6, Luza +4. That's really what you're hoping to do in the midfield here as the battle is on, and through goes Casey Kerwin. Not done yet, though. Bolin tries to get by. Zelensky shuts the door, and Kerwin now back up to third for a race high. James?
Yeah, Bobby Zelensky's still been quiet on the radio, but certainly not the same for Casey Kerwin and Graham Bolin. Kerwin's spotter in particular, you can hear a lot of huffing and puffing voices through the microphone, so he was clearly frustrated about how much Zelensky held up the 95. Meanwhile, Graham Bolin was having some fun with this battle. He was almost commentating the battle between Kerwin and Zelensky and saying, oh, you might need to get him through the carousel. If you can get him through the kink here, this is the spot. But now he's got the challenge of trying to get around Bobby Zelensky, and now that Kerwin has made the pass and moved up a spot.
And we'll see how long it lasts, because Bobby Zelensky wants to come back at him, but Zelensky posted up on the outside of turn 5 is just going to open the door for Bolin. Bolin's going to go underneath. He'll head up the hill onto the bridge to the left-hand turn number 6. Can he get clear? Yes, he does. Bolin goes to 4th, and after all of that, Bobby Zelensky, all kinds of loose and out of shape that time, falls back down to where he started this race in 5th.
You can see Zelensky there trying to hang on, and I love the note there from James about the spotter for Casey Kerwin, Michael Gonzalez, being heavily invested in the running of that 95 machine. But unfortunately, Zelensky now, he's had clean air pretty much the entire race, and you could see as soon as he got back in traffic has really struggled with the handling of that 18 car. So running solid right here, nothing to worry about, still up in the top 5. But you know, for Zelensky, he circles this date on the calendar every single year as a place for him to potentially go out and win. And I'm sure, at least for him, Evan, that it's a little bit frustrating to be running here in 5th at a road course.
Yeah, there was once upon a time where you couldn't touch Bobby Zelensky. Won two road course races in the 2020 season, won 2 road course races in the 2019 season. But, you know, much like we saw with Chase Elliott a couple of years ago, where it was almost a lock-in in recent years, there's been another 3-4 names entering the conversation that keep these battles interesting. We're going to take a replay here in a run down to turn number 1. Check out this dive out of shape and bailed out of it just in time. That was Blade Witt going for Broke Blake and reconsidered at the last minute. Otherwise, he was going to absolutely destroy the driver, challenging him up the inside. And now here's a good battle in the run down the back. The 40 car in the middle of it. It's Dylan Alt side by side with Michael Guest.
And both Coca-Cola cars trying to do work right now on Michael Guest. This is back for 29th, and By the way, that Denny Hamlin Coca-Cola scheme that they released today for Atlanta, looking sharp in Coca-Cola's home. As Dylan Alt so strong on these road courses. What an excursion off the racetrack, though, trying to save it as he works into turn 14. Dylan Alt, again, they are racing hard back here, and Alt is an exceptional road course driver. Got caught with that damage early, but you could see there's battles happening all over the place. I know we focus on the battle for the lead because it's good, but for every single spot, it doesn't matter. These drivers are going all out for it.
It's a tough couple of laps there for Dylan Alt. He was 32nd, now 33rd, and instead of gaining, ends up with a loss at all of that. And looking back in towards the front of the field, Graham Bolin and Casey Kerwin have now pulled away from Bobby Zelensky. So Zelensky comfortably in 5th. He's about 2 seconds ahead of Vicente Salas, and credit to the 19 machine. Blake, we haven't talked really much about him at all tonight, but is comfortably in a top 10 spot. So kudos to him trying to close this one out. This is a look just outside of your top 10. Alan Bose trying to not get caught by Mullis, Bordeaux, and Clampett, but there's also a duo, Donovan Strauss and Garrett Lowe, just up the road. There they are, going through the right-hand kink, turn 11. So this could go either way for Alan Bose. He's got an opportunity to make up spots or lose spots here, coming to 2 laps to go this time by.
Certainly a lot of runs to talk about, especially after how this race started. You think about Salas was involved in that contact early, running in 7th. Garrett Maines had an aggressive rejoin right there, lost a lot of spots. He's gained a lot of them back into 7th. How about Blake Reynolds doing himself some service up in the top 10 in points, currently running in the 8th position. He's had a quiet afternoon so far at Road America, so Blake Reynolds, a solid job. A lot of good runs that I think you look throughout the top 10, some drivers will be proud to kind of pad some of those points that are going to continue to be very important.
And now waiting to see what is going to be the final move in this race. There are still drivers coming off of the pit lane at this very last moment on lap number 24. And here's the challenge. Bolin to the inside. Can't establish the positioning, though. But listen, he saw Casey Kerwin get physical with Bobby Zelensky. He knows how the 95 is going to race. He wants to keep it the same way. And of course, up the road, you're on board with Mitchell DeYoung. He is still desperately searching for that little bit extra to catch up to Steven Wilson, who has been perfect through 23 laps.
Well, this goes to show you how important that launch, how important getting the pole was for Steven Wilson. If there was one driver who was just slightly faster over the long run, I'd have to give it to DeYoung. He was just a hair better off of pit road as well, but that track position, getting that launch was so key for Steven Wilson, who again only won the pole by 8 1/1000ths of a second. That's the difference right here, and why Steven Wilson can kind of drive off with about a second of a lead as they'll be approaching the white flag here momentarily.
1 lap to go. Of course, no yellows, doesn't matter, but a milestone to the end, and you can see Mitchell DeYoung is getting a little bit desperate, trying to do anything he can. Of course, DeYoung, a 2-time road course winner last season. The one race in which he didn't win, won by Bolin. He was right there in the midst as well as a runner-up, but white flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Steven Wilson at Road America. He has had his best season thus far in the series this year, but Blake, he's only in his 2nd time around. The sophomore driver is here to impress and is, I'd say, about 11 turns away from being a 2-time race winner in 2022.
Well, I think I ran out of times to talk about how impressive his rookie season was, despite not getting into the playoffs. Was a top 5 driver in terms of total points scored last year. Just didn't get that win to get into the playoffs, but this year he has shown up, he's won, and he is showing all of that potential that he had upcoming through the Contender Series ranks, through the Road to Pro ranks. Exactly why there was so much hype around Steven Wilson. Going against the best of the best, Mitchell DeYoung, he's done everything in road course racing. He's been a world championship iRacing driver. He's won gold medals in the X Games in real life. They're not much better than Mitchell DeYoung. So for Steven Wilson to come out, what a statement this has been so far. He only has a couple more corners to close the deal.
I think it's worth something that if you're going to get a win at this level, you want to beat the best. You don't want to take advantage of somebody spinning. DeYoung has been applying the pressure from the get-go, and to his credit, Steven Wilson has not put a single foot wrong. There's that tricky kink again. Turn number 11, the head down the kettle bottoms and then to the heavy braking zone in turn 12, Canada corner. There's probably 3 turns in that straightaway alone. He's going to successfully navigate 12 here. There's no traffic in front, and he brings this one into the home stretch. Quickly got himself onto the playoff grid back in March when he took home a checkered flag at Atlanta. But this one going to mean that much more because he'll vault himself back to the top of the playoff grid. Steven Wilson is perfect at Elkhart Lake and wins at Road America.
You see him sawing back and forth on that open wheel rim. Casey Kerwin able to hold on over Graham Bolin for third. You see Vicente Salas coming across the line. It's a long trip around this Road America for these drivers that are still fighting for positions. How about Logan Clampett right there, up 20 spots since the drop of the green flag? That is awfully impressive what he's been able to do. Jimmy Mullis, again, I said it at the top of the broadcast, I'll say it again. Congratulations on his engagement recently, just a couple of weeks ago. So Mullis able to have a solid run here tonight. Starts 18th and finishes rather in the 14th spot.
A couple more drivers to the line. Looking is Clampett, but he will end at plus 20. Bordeaux hangs on. Luza there in the 4-car as well. More drivers coming across the start-finish line. Couple of them racing up the hill. Here comes that entry for Femi Olat side by side to the stripe, but cannot get to Colin Bowden, and now wrecking off a 14. Dylan Alt is in the tires in the final corner after he dove under Guest and got into Blade Witt. So they are fighting tooth and nail to the end, and Dylan Alt will see it all fall apart.
And again, that was a battle for 30 seconds. So don't tell me these drivers don't care about every single point that they can possibly make up.
They cared about all of them, and I think finally they have all crossed the start-finish line. Let's take a look at the end of this one. This winning moment is brought to you, as always, by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. The celebratory bumps continue to roll in. There's a congrats courtesy of Casey Kerwin, and again, coming into this race, Blake, everyone's talking about Zelensky. They talk about DeYoung, and rightfully so. But as Stewart Haas Esports was kind of reminded me on Twitter earlier today, Wilson knows what he's doing. He has never finished worse than 5th in his road course career in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And I think you got to put his name, you got to put Casey's name up there as well as the guys, of course, Bolin as well, who have got a chance every single week. These road course races are no longer as seemingly predetermined as they were 3 years ago.
Certainly not. Is Steven Wilson going to approach the start-finish line here and do a couple of burnouts? He's been able to do it several times here, as this is your Coca-Cola winning moment.
Great stuff for Steven Wilson, the third different repeat winner of the 2022 season, joining Michael Conti and Nick Ottinger as repeat winners. And that means that through 11 rounds, we stay with 8 different race winners, and more importantly, 2 points-paying positions remain on the playoff grid for now, Blake, with only 3 regular season races left.
And that's the biggest key, Evan. And not only that, but we have another road course to run before we get to the playoffs. So, of course, you have to think about what can DeYoung, what can Zelensky, perhaps even a Casey Kerwin. I can't believe we're saying this far in, despite the consistency that Kerwin has shown. He still hasn't won yet. So is that an opportunity when we go to another road course, when we go to Watkins Glen here in a couple of weeks? Is that going to be an opportunity for these drivers to win, as we showed the Coca-Cola move of the race?
And it simply came down to the pit exit for Steven Wilson. He had maintained, and this was where we thought it was going to get interesting. Mitchell DeYoung, better than him on pit road, was about a second quicker overall, spent 1.6 seconds less in the box. And then when the pressure was put on at the end, Steven Wilson did not put a foot wrong. He continued to hold off one of the best not just in this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series at a road course, but one of the best road racers on the iRacing service, leading all 25 laps tonight from iRacing's virtual Road America en route to his second career eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series win. And let's see if we can chat with your race winner in this one. Steven Wilson continues to prove that he may be the man to beat this year, Blake.
Certainly so, and Steven Wilson, so consistent at these road courses. What was the difference that propelled you over tonight? We know you've been strong early on in your eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series career. What is the difference with this car or this track that puts you in victory lane tonight?
Honestly, I feel like the difference today was just qualifying on pole. I had that 3-second gap after lap 1 or whatever, and yeah, I mean, I didn't do too many race runs. The longest run I did the whole week was like 10 or 12 laps, so I was prepping a lot for Q, and that paid off even though I didn't hit my lap right, but we still hit it good enough for pole, and the clean air was enough for us to hold on and had good enough pace to hold Mitchell back by about a second there at the end.
All right, Steven. So looking at the standings, obviously 2 wins, so the playoffs are virtually a lock. I believe this will put you back in control of the regular season standings as well. Is it fair at this point to call you a favorite to win this championship in 2022?
Man, we're winning a championship, all right? That's what we're here for. So, yeah, but we've been strong every race this year, and honestly, it's just been a crazy run, so hopefully we can take that momentum all the way. Got to thank all these partners up here, Smithfield, Gear Wrench, all the guys at Stewart-Haas Esports. And, this was a race I didn't expect it to happen, but we'll take it. And, yeah, this has been fun.
All right, Steven, we'll let you get to celebrating. Congratulations, and perhaps calling his shot just a little bit there as a favorite to win the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Championship in 2022. We go from Steven Wilson in victory lane to the man who brings it home in second, Mitchell DeYoung. So strong on these road courses. What more did you need, or what did you learn out there that perhaps can help you for Watkins Glen next time out?
Well, it was quite a stressful race for sure. The whole field, we were so close the whole time. It was really exciting. So, we didn't really know what to expect coming into the season with this new car. We had some pretty big differences with the tire and stuff like that compared to the old car. So a lot of what we knew kind of was thrown out the window. I think there's definitely some takeaways. Steven did a fantastic job. Perfectly managed the race. He had that gap right from lap 1 and just managed it perfectly, as you can see. So I tried everything. I gave it everything I had. I think we have some work to do in terms of setup and dialing things in a bit more because, I felt like I was lacking a bit of grip in certain places compared to them. And, we'll definitely work at it. We want to get that win and get to the playoffs. So we'll see what Watkins can do for us.
Well, that was going to be my follow-up, is now you have one road course left on the schedule. You're just outside the playoff grid when it comes to points, but do you look at Watkins Glen yourself as a must-win to get into the postseason?
I think the road courses are always kind of my strong suit with this, and ideally we get the win on that. Of course, we have so many strong people in the series now on road courses, and anyone can really grab it. So unfortunately we weren't the one today, but it's just motivating. You need to go back to the drawing boards and find that little edge to put yourself in that situation. So that's what we'll do, and hopefully that's our ticket in. So we'll see.
All right, Mitchell. Well, congratulations on finishing up in second tonight. We know that 2311, number 23 Toyota will be strong, both at Pocono here in a couple weeks' time and when we visit Watkins Glen a little bit later on. And, of course, another shot for a Championship 4 driver from last season to perhaps try and contend for that title once again here in 2022. As we move forward to Casey Kerwin right here, Coca-Cola in hand as the driver. You had a pretty eventful night up here in the top 5, made up a lot of spots against some really good competition. What do you think about this car has suited your driving style and made you perhaps even better than you already were at these road courses?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is about it. It's just, I
I think you can drive it a lot harder, and I don't know if just the more road racing I've done lately, kind of in GT3 type stuff, has helped out with that, or what about it really has helped. But clearly, I'm a bit closer on pace than what we were in the other car, which I felt pretty dang good in the other car, besides compared to like Mitchell and Graham. So definitely to come out first race in the next gen and race with those guys. If not, at times I felt like I was the fastest car on the track. Just I didn't qualify quite as good as I could have. I didn't get through traffic on lap 1 as well as I could have. Made some mistakes, lost track position, which it was pretty tough. Everyone was so even. It was just really tough to get spots back after you lost it. But yeah, it was definitely a good showing for the first time in the next gen. It was a lot of fun. These things are so much fun to drive on road, and yeah, I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen, even though it's historically I've been way worse there than any other track in the NASCAR stuff. But hopefully we can carry the speed there and maybe have a couple spots better next time.
Well, you've been awfully consistent this year. It's you and a couple of others that are tied for the lead in top 10s in this series at 7 now after the running of this race. So what's kind of been the key to this resurgence for you, figuring out this car? And it doesn't matter what track we go to. You've been strong, whether it's a road course or whether it's even an oval.
Yeah, I think, it all comes down to, the people putting in the effort, right? At first off, it's, Dustin Linger, Houston Hamer, Jarrett Liebert, teammates like Graham and Steven and Dylan Duvall. They've all put in so much time to make our stuff fast. And really and truthfully, I think if anyone knows me, I'm not the greatest on feedback. I like to use the saying, I drive car. I don't, I'm not very smart when it comes to what we need to go better. So I have these people around me that help me go faster is crucial. And thankfully, I feel like I have been racing better than ever the past couple years. Mainly last year and this year, we've been really consistent. Just can't quite get a win. And thankfully, Steven was my best friend tonight. If there's going to be a spot in on points, we're doing really good on points right now. But we can't. There's 3 races left. If there's 2 winners, then we're out. If there's only 1, then we can still get it on points. So Steven was my best friend tonight for sure. I wish, obviously, I think if we could have gotten through the first laps a little bit better. I think I had the pace to maybe run him and Mitchell down. I don't know if I could have gotten around them, but yeah, we're still doing good on points. Obviously, Pocono is one of my favorites that we go to next. I love Darlington as well. And obviously, we had good speed here, so we could run well at Watkins Glen. So, yeah, hopefully we can get a win. If not, then people like Steven and Graham and all those guys are my best friends the next 3 weeks.
All right, well, repping the set tonight, bringing it home in P3 is Casey Kerwin, driver of the number 95X set gaming machine. And what a great night it was for him. Evan, as we take a look at our full field rundown, a lot of great runs up here in the top 10.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different teams as well represented up front. Of course, Wilson, DeYoung, Kerwin, the top 3, Bolin, Zelensky as well, right? Those 5 were the story, but great points nights for the likes of Salas, Maines, Reynolds, Conti, Nick Ottinger as well. Pretty quiet, gets the top 10 out of it.
Well, and very strong run for the Toyotas. We know that they struggled here in real life a couple of days ago, but 5 of the top 6 in Toyotas tonight. So solid runs for those drivers. Donovan Strauss, solid P12 run as well, and a couple of great recovery drives here further back in the field, Evan. You look at Zach Novak after running off track, having some issues, able to recover and have a solid night.
And of course, we talked about the struggles for the likes of Leahy, Duvall, and others who were taken out early in this one and do not get the points they wanted. Of course, the natural storyline is we got another road course, but that's in 2 weeks' time, right? Pocono coming up first. We take a trip to the Tricky Triangle on Tuesday, July the 19th. Blake, another unique challenge. Casey Kerwin seems excited for it. What are the drivers going to be looking forward to as we head to round 12?
Well, I think one thing that is coming through is shifting. I'm interested to see, especially with these next-gen cars, they were shifting a lot in the Gen 6 cars at this racetrack. So how much are we going to see these drivers really having to get through the gears, both in real life and here in the virtual world? I think there's a lot left to be decided for that. We know these cars race so well on these bigger tracks. I'm interested to see how this track opens up, where drivers can go to get that clean air. And again, are we going to see shifting down from 5th to 3rd in the tunnel turn? It should be interesting to see.
And we hope that you join us next time out. But until then, that is it for us here tonight from Road America. On behalf of our entire team at iRacing, NASCAR, Coca-Cola, and our team behind the scenes this evening. For your broadcast crew as well, for James Pike down on pit road, for Blake McCandless, and to myself, Evan Pasoko. I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate Steven Wilson, two-time race winner this season. The road to $300,000 continues in 2 weeks' time for the third to last race of the regular season from the virtual Pocono Raceway. That race and every race of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series can be found streaming live right here at eNASCAR.com. Till next time, good night from Road America.